Hey, welcome to the AI Search Report. My name is Nathan Gotch, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Rankability. And in this episode, we're going to be answering a couple of questions. Number one, is the agency model going to die because of AI? And number two, we're going to be looking at query fan out. And number three, we're going to be talking a little bit about the fact that Google in its current state is going to look very, very different in 6 months from now, even a year from now. So let's dive right into it. So I wanted to start with this one thread because I have a lot of agency friends and I have a lot of people who are working and doing agency work. And obviously there's a lot of disruption going on, and it's not specific just to agency. It's really across every industry. And the question is the agency model actually going to die? Right. And I don't believe that to be true, but I do think if you're an agency that has not adopted AI, you're going to be in trouble. And I'm going to show you a real life example as to why that is, but I'll just give you a little bit of perspective on this. Okay. So Rankability, for example, we're a software company, we're a startup, we're bootstrapped. And we have a lot of options out there. We could go and hire an agency to do stuff for us, for design and all kinds of other things. We could do it in-house. We could do the DIY route. So we have a lot of options. Okay. Now, back in the day when you had a startup, you would just have to hire specialists and agencies to do a lot of this work for you. But I want to show you a couple of things. All right. So number one, when you look at Rankability here, okay, we didn't hire a designer to do this. Okay. No designer built this. We did not spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to have some expert come in here and do this for us. In fact, this website you're looking at right now, this version is completely created with AI. Okay. So for us to have gotten a design like this, and I'm not saying this is, the most incredible design in the world, but it's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid design. It would have cost a significant amount of money, okay, to do this. And we know this because we do work with, with various companies and various agencies for all kinds of work. We know how much it costs. And I'll just tell you this is the craziest part, is like we've been using AI to build a lot of front end related things. So websites, tools, and various things. And on average, we spend about $300 a month on AI tools. Okay. Now, just to put that in perspective, to build out a 70-page website, a 100-page website would have cost a lot more. Okay. And so that is changing the dynamic of the agency world, and also even changing the dynamic of freelancers. Right. And so if you really want to be able to thrive going forward, you as a freelancer or an expert need to master these tools. For example, we use Replit, and I run into a lot of problems with Replit, like tons of problems. It would be really nice if there was someone who specialized in Replit and could come in and play the AI game inside of Replit so we wouldn't have to worry about that, right? That's the type of stuff that's going forward, is like the people that are going to survive are the people that understand the AI systems, not the people that are romantic about these things. And if you're romantic about it, you're going to be in danger. Okay. So that's the first part, is like site design, web development, a lot of those types of professions, very dangerous position right now. Okay. So I would highly recommend, really understanding how to use these AI platforms, Replit, Lovable, Vibe Coding, whatever it is, pick your platform. They're all basically the same. Obviously Google has its own as well. And so does ChatGPT. So like learning these new technologies is a way to create at least some levels of stability in your various professions and your agencies. Okay. So that's the first part. Second part is, once again, I want to show you another example of this. Is like one of the biggest friction points we've been having in our business is I create a lot of video in our business. Okay. So I have my own dedicated YouTube channel, at Nathan Gotch, and it's where I share like the really tactical SEO stuff. But I've been the bottleneck for a really long time, right? Because I've always kind of had my hands on things, and I've had a really hard time systemizing that process. So recently I talked to someone who's a specialist in video production, and I fixed this issue. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because one of the friction points was on the design level. And so the way that a traditional agency will work in this context is they'll have a video idea, then the copywriter will write the script, and then the designer will come in and read the script and decide like, okay, these are the types of visual assets we need to build. And then from there, that gets assigned to the designer, and they actually design those assets And then that gets, some of those assets get pushed to a motion designer, and the motion designer, makes those come to life, right? And then once that's done, then it gets pushed to the editor, and the editor finishes the whole video. Okay. So it's a pretty extensive process to do one video. So I knew that my biggest friction point, I already do the scripts. My biggest friction point is the design element of this. And I'm not a designer. Okay. So what I needed to do is I need to figure out, how do I fix this one thing? Okay. So this is there's multiple nuances in what I'm about to show you. Okay. And this is actually going to show you kind of how you should be thinking about these AI platforms as a business. Okay. So the first thing is as you can see here from this particular prompt, I said, act as my designer. And then I said, review the script and find opportunities to create visual assets for this video. I pasted my whole script in there, the whole thing. This is like a 11 to 13 minute video, which you'll be able to watch in probably a couple of weeks. You'll be able to see the outcome of all of this process. Okay. So then what it did is, I'm in Gemini. And by the way, I don't have any allegiances to Gemini. Gemini, ChatGPT, it was my flavor of the day. Okay. So I went ahead and it kind of went through this process of creating these visual ideas, right? Which is great. That's cool. But the problem is, what the heck do I do with this, right? Who do I hire? What's next? Okay. So one of the best questions you can ask in business is, don't ask how to do something, ask who can do this. Right? If you think in the mindset of how, if you're a CEO or you're a leader, that's going to be a problem. It's not your job to figure out how to do everything. It's your job to figure out who can do this. And we're in a very unique time where the AI might be that who in this scenario, which is going back to the agency conversation, right? We're eliminating, some elements of this process, and AI is taking over. In fact, AI in what we're showing here is acting as my creative director. Okay. So going back here, my question is very simple. Who should create these assets for us? That's it. Who should create these assets for us? So then what it does, it goes through the whole process, says, go the DIY path, whatever. It gives me a bunch of different options. But of course, my goal is to not do anything. I don't want to touch design. Okay. So I went with option 3. Now notice what's going on here. I am going through the sales journey myself, right? I'm going through the sales journey. I started top of funnel, right? Top of funnel, totally, not solution aware, not product aware, nothing. Okay. I'm very top of the funnel. Now I'm going deeper into the funnel and I say, okay, I see all the work that has to be done here. I don't want to do this. So what's next? Okay. So who should do this? Now I've pushed myself deeper into the funnel. This is very, very important to understand from an SEO perspective and an AI search optimization perspective, because back in the day with SEO, the goal would be we'd want to rank for all of these different questions, right? All of these different stages that a buyer would go through. But now with AI, the entire sales cycle, the entire sales journey can be compressed into one chat window. That's why the concept of traffic is not the same anymore, because technically this whole process, you don't need a lot of traffic, right? And as I'll show you here in a second. So going through this, now we're getting deeper in the funnel. It gives me some ideas. And then I make the clarification that I want to actually, let's see here. I make the clarification. Oh yeah. Then I do what are comparison queries. Okay. So I did 4 brands versus each other. Okay. And this is a very common query inside of SaaS, but this is a very, very deep funnel question, which means someone's getting very close to making a transaction. The intent is very high there. Okay. So then we go down and it does a nice comparison. Okay. And so what's happening here is I'm getting ready to buy. Okay. I'm getting ready to buy. And you can see here, once again, context, I'm looking for a long-term partner. For example, I'm moving to create batches of 8 to 10 videos at a time, right? You can see that. So now going through this, you can see now it gives me more detail. And then finally I end up on KIMP. Okay. The AI told me to do this, right? And I've done this more times than I can count, where I've just taken the AI's recommendation, hit the buy button, and it's turned out incredibly well. Actually, quite many, many times so far. I've purchased many things because the AI has told me to do it. Okay. So based on this, then the next obvious question is I just go ahead and take a screenshot of the subscription. I say, okay, which one should I do? Right. And so now at this point, I went ahead, I purchased it, and boom, now I'm actually in the process. Now the next phase of this is me actually using this service. Now this is really important because it used to be really hard. Like once you made a decision to buy something, the next most important thing is activation, right? Getting someone to actually do something, right? The beauty of this now is you can take a screenshot of anything. If you're inside of a new application, you take a screenshot and you say, guide me through this process. The image recognition is not perfect. It can be a little inaccurate sometimes, but it's getting much, much better. These AI platforms are getting really good at understanding the context of a screenshot, right? So you can see I took a nice screenshot here and I said, what now? Okay. And then, so I won't go through every little detail of this, but I just wanted to show you, this is an example where, I went through the whole buyer journey. Okay. The whole buyer journey occurred because of AI. All right. Now here's the funny part. Guess what platform will get attribution, right? It's going to be Google search. So Google search will get attribution for that conversion, because what I did is I just went in here and I copied, I copied the brand, went into Google and did a branded search and went to their website and bought it, right? That was it. Gemini's not going to get that conversion attribution, right? So this is why conversion tracking is really, really hard at this point. But this is more importantly, the reason why we have to be so visible in these AI answers. Okay. So I just wanted to show you this because, once again, going back to this agency model, there's a lot of disruption going on here. And you really, really have to be thinking about, how do we leverage these tools to the fullest extent? They are not the enemy. The tools are not the enemy. And more importantly, you are not going to beat the tools. Keep in mind here, although I used AI, I still hired an agency to actually do the stuff. I didn't let AI do it for me, right? So although it's still acting as a middleman, I still had to actually pay someone to do this. I still have to pay one of my team members to manage this whole process, right? So it's not like humans are eliminated, but it's showing kind of just how things are changing. And notice, no search was used here. No traditional search, I should say, was used here. And this brings me to the next point, which is answer engine optimization. This is answer engine optimization. This is a perfect demonstration of what every SEO should be thinking about. Okay. This is where we have to get brands visible, is for these types of conversations that are happening in these platforms. If there's anything that I can predict that traditional search results, like people going and clicking on blue links, is going to be a lost art. That is pretty much a guarantee. And you can see here, from the AI mode project manager here at Google, they're pushing AI mode directly into Google search here soon. So when you do just your standard google.com search, AI mode is going to be right in there. Like if we go in right now, we'll go to Google. You'll see AI mode's kind of like a second little thing, right? You click on AI mode and that's like its own separate little experience, right? But we know that's not going to be the case very much longer, right? We'll just go ahead and, do this, and we can see it still shows traditional search results. We know going forward, it's going to be all AI mode, or it's going to be traditional search results mixed with AI mode. And more than likely, based on what we've seen here so far, and you can read through this conversation, there's not going to be a separation between AI overviews and AI mode. AI mode will be the experience. It will be the priority at the top, which means answer engine optimization is all that we should be thinking about. Now, not to freak you out, don't worry. Those blue links still matter. Okay. I don't want to get this misconstrued. The blue links matter a massive amount. Okay. So if you go over here and you click on web, all of these blue links is what is the food that the AI will use to produce a good answer. Okay. So I would look at, the traditional search results as like, if it was like kind of like a pyramid, that bottom layer is the infrastructure, right? And search is the infrastructure for AI answers, right? And you have to be present there. You have to understand how to do traditional SEO. So then you have that opportunity to influence the AI answers, right? That's why we still have to do it. It's still critical. It's not like it's a separate discipline. They're interlinked in many, many ways. Okay. But it's more about the user experience compared to this versus this. Okay. And that's the big difference. And that's why I wanted to demonstrate that today. Okay. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that was helpful, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks.